students. In the last class, we were discussing about the story of a shoemaker. As you all know, before going to bed, he used to keep the leather ready to make his shoes for the next day. But what happened? Next day, when he comes, he will be surprised to see a fine pair of shoes on the table. Now let's see who is making these shoes. Children, take your textbook, page number 11. Now I will read the rest portion. One night, the shoemaker and his wife hid behind the curtains to find out who was making the shoes. Around midnight, two little elves came creeping in quietly. The little elves worked hard all night, stitching, hammering, and making the shoes. As the dawn came, they flew out of the windows, singing merrily. Now we know who has been stitching the shoes for us. Have you noticed that they were wearing tattered clothes and are shivering in the cold? I want to thank them for all they have done for us and will make little shoes for them. Yes, we should. I will make little clothes for them. They set to work and made two neat pairs of clothes and shoes for the elves. The wife folded the clothes neatly and left them on the table. That night, the elves came creeping silently into the room. But there was no leather on the table, but a pile of clothing and little shoes. Just the right size for them. The elves were overjoyed. They wore their clothes and danced and sang on the table in delight. The elves flew out of the window, never to be seen again. As for the shoemaker and his wife, they had learned to make fine pairs of shoes and could now live in comfort. They lived happily ever after. Every day night before going to sleep, he kept the leather on the table to make the shoes for the next day. But morning when he comes, he sees that a fine pair of shoes are ready on the table. They were wondering how this was happening. So the shoemaker and his wife decided to find out. So what did they do? One night, the shoemaker and his wife hid behind the curtains to find out who was making the shoes. Around the midnight, two little elves came creeping in quietly. Elves meaning you have learned it. Creeping. What is the meaning of creeping? Walking in slowly and silently. Creeping, walking in slowly and silently. The little elves worked hard all night. They started their work. After entering the house, they started their work. They started stitching, hammering and making the shoes. They won't sit lazy. As soon as they enter the house, they start making the shoes. As the dawn came, they flew out of the window singing merrily. What's the meaning of dawn? Early morning. Before they get up, the elves flew away from the house. So dawn meaning early morning. Merrily. What is the meaning of merrily? Happily. Yes, merrily, happily. Now they came to know who has been stitching the shoes for them. Have you noticed that they were wearing tattered clothes and are shivering in the cold? What do you mean by tattered? Old and torn. Tattered, old and torn. They were wearing old and torn clothes. Because of that, they were shivering with the cold. Then the shoemaker said, I want to thank them for all they have done for us and will make little shoes for them. Then the shoemaker's wife said, that's very good. I will make little clothes for them. Then they set to work and made 2 neat pairs of clothes and shoes for the elves. And they kept it on the table. Again, they went and hid behind the curtain what is going to happen they wanted to see. Then that night, the elves came creeping silently into the room. But there was no leather on the table. As usual, they came to make the shoes, but there was no leather. But what did they see? They saw a pile of clothing and little shoes. Pile of clothing. What do you mean by that? Collection of clothes. Collection of clothes. Pile of clothing. Collection of clothes. And those clothes and shoes were just the right size for them. The elves were overjoyed. They were very happy. They wore their clothes and danced and sang on the table in delight. What do you mean by delight? Happy. They were very happy. Then the elves flew out of the window, never to be seen again. Why? The elves came to know that they learned how to make shoes. So hereafter the elves did not come to the house. As for the shoemaker and his wife, they had learned to make fine pairs of shoes and they led a comfortable life. And they lived happily ever after. Children, I think you have enjoyed learning this interesting lesson. Now learn the meanings and opposite. Read the lesson 2 or 3 times. And do the match the following and exercise given on page number 30. Bye.
Come children, let us do the exercises quickly. Choose the correct answer and fill in the blanks. The shoemaker lived in a dash at the end of a village. Write down cottage. A dash man who was passing by saw the shoes and bought them immediately. What's the correct answer? Yes, a rich man. The shoemaker and his dash hid behind the curtains to find out who was making the shoes in the night. The shoemaker and his wife. Very good. The shoemaker and his wife made little dash and little dash for the elves. Right? Clothes, shoes. Last one. The elves were dash on seeing the pile of clothes and little shoes. Overjoyed. Write down overjoyed. Next, true or false. The first one, the shoemaker was very rich. Put an into. It is a wrong statement. Second one, he had enough leather to make 10 pairs of shoes. Again, it is wrong because he had leather to make only 1 pair of shoes. Okay, third one, every night the elves would make fine pairs of shoes. Tick, true. The shoemaker learned the art of making fine shoes. Did he? Yes, so put a tick. The shoemaker did not thank the elves. This wrong. Put an into. The shoemaker and his wife thanked the elves. How? They made clothes and shoes for the elves. Okay. Okay, children. In the next page, we have grammar, thinking and feeling verbs. This is what we had learned in your second standard. Do you remember? Thinking and feeling verbs. Now, what are verbs? Verbs are action words, right? But there are verbs like, I like to watch TV. I love my mother. I like to play in the rain. I'm feeling very hot, or I'm feeling very cold. So these are action words which like, love, feel. Yes, but there is nothing physical in that. You cannot see the action. It is something which is taking place in your mind, right? Such verbs are called thinking and feeling verbs, where the physical action cannot be seen. Okay, so we just have a few small examples and you can understand when we do the exercises further. I hope you remember what we had done in the second standard. Do you? Or you forgot? Okay, let's just go ahead. I'll read it quickly and then we'll go to the exercises. The words think and like are verbs that show what a person is thinking or feeling instead of a physical action. These verbs are known as thinking and feeling verbs. Examples: worry, wonder, think, like, love, hate, feel, cry, scream, laugh. Even you have words like dream, imagine. So you are doing an action, but that action cannot be seen. Those are thinking and feeling verbs. Okay? Clear? Yes. Now it is very simple. Now let us do the exercise. The boys of the village dash to dive in the water. Like, the boys of the village like to dive in the water. Into the water, sorry. Second one, I love to cook for my mother. Love is the answer. Third one, Sheila wanted to buy a pair of gloves for herself. Wanted is the answer. Fourth one, we dash very bad when we lost the football game. Felt. Kathy dash thrilled to see her grandfather coming back. Looked. Kathy looked thrilled. Ravi and his friends dashed the clown coming out of the circus tent. Saw. Okay, now did you get an idea of what thinking and feeling verbs are? Yes, there is another one small example. Now I am telling you, I am reading out the answers. You are listening, but at the same time, an action over there is you are understanding. Okay? Okay, children. After thinking and feeling verbs, now the next exercise is about antonyms. You remember we had done about synonyms. Synonyms mean meanings. Antonyms mean the opposites. Let's read. The shoemaker and his wife were worried and unhappy. Unhappy is the opposite of happy. An antonym is a word that gives the opposite meaning. Some antonyms can be formed by adding a prefix un or in to the word. Okay, so whatever is the word, to make it the opposite, you just have to add un or in, and that becomes the opposite of that word. Let's see the examples. Okay, unusual is the antonym of usual. How do we make it? By adding the prefix un. Prefix means adding some small group of letters in front of a particular word. We'll learn that in our grammar. Okay? Yes, now come to the exercises. Our teacher has not come today. She is unwell. Yes, unwell is the antonym of well. Okay. In the test, we were given dash sentences. We had to complete them. The answer is incomplete. Incomplete. The newborn calf was unstable on its legs. Here, unstable means the calf. It is the young one of a cow. So, as soon as it is born, it was not able to stand steadily on its legs. So, it was going that side and this side and falling off. That is the meaning of not being stable. Okay. So, the opposite of stable is unstable. Rati said she was dashed to come for the picnic. So, Rati was not able to come for the picnic. So, the word over there is unable. India became dash in 1947. That word you know very well. Independent. Independent is the opposite of dependent. Yes? Okay. Father asked me to dash the bag. Unpack. Normally, you pack your school bag, you pack your kit, isn't it? That is, you fill in your bag with your clothes or your books or your food. Here, Father asks you to remove those things from the bag and empty the bag. So, you say unpack. Okay, children, the exercises in your textbook are complete. You have a few more exercises which you have to read. You can read them yourself, and then you have a picture composition also. That also you can do it yourself. If you have any doubts about that, you can ask in the live class. Just see that picture and write a story on your own. Okay? You can write it in the textbook itself. The boy who's climbing the ladder to get the eggs of the bird. Okay? Just write the small story in your own words. Thank you.